All right, we're finally live. That's on me. I don't know why the program was taking so long to load this morning. Real quick, let's get the pie charts up in the bottom left. Prop Beaver should have sent them to my Dropbox. He's at home this morning. Let's see if he did. Pick graphics. AJ pie charts, and it looks like he did it. So I'll text him in a second. We can get started without the pie charts. First game up is actually an awesome one. Kansas State at Texas. Line's down to 3.5. I wish I got in at Kansas State +4. Wish I got in at 4.5. It's now down to 3.5. Let's run the poll, see where people are feeling at 3.5. I mean, I like Kansas State. I'm sure Jay is going to be on the other side of that. Mitch, Kansas State a live dog today or no?
Well, anytime you got Steve Sarkisian coaching a team that's favored, you certainly have a live dog on your hands because this guy is an 8-4 head coach on his very best year. So we got to find those 4 losses somewhere. He's only got 1 at this point right now. Like I said last week in the Kansas versus Oklahoma game, and I'm not saying they're going to storm the field in Austin for this one. I'm going to say, though, that, these are the team's last crack that they get at some of these guys. So Texas and Oklahoma, it's these teams that have played them for a very long time. It's their last crack. Now, we know Kansas State has been way better at home than they have been on the road. But the thing is, anytime you kind of run a weird offense or anything like that against a Steve Sarkisian coach team, you got a puncher's chance. I think this is going to be a little bit of a track meet up and down the field. I like Kansas State plus the points.
Kansas State plus the points. As you know, I put this one on YouTube, so I won't go too far into it, but I'm on the same side as Mitch there. Without Ewers, I just think these two offenses are so evenly matched, and I think Kansas State defensively is really undervalued. Kansas State is one of the better defenses in the FBS. According to some analytics, they're a top 10 defense. I'm not buying into that. In fact, they've gotten run on the road their last few times out. So Texas is going to be able to run the ball, but for me to lay more than a field goal, I need Ewers in there. I can't do it without him. With the freshman quarterback in, who didn't even look that great against BYU. I mean, he was okay. I'm actually curious to see what Jay thinks of that kid. So, yeah, I'm on Kansas State as well. I'm taking the points. I actually think they're a very live dog here. All right, Jay. Oh, I already have Texas up there for him. That was not planned. I'm guessing you're on Texas, right?
Come on now. I've said for most of this season, I'm not switching up. I think Texas is still one of the best teams in the country. The only loss we've seen them lose was to their arch nemesis in Oklahoma in a Red River shootout. That's always that way. Other than that, man, I really like what I've seen from them. The key here, I understand you guys concerned about the quarterback. I'm concerned a little bit too because I do believe
I'm not concerned about the quarterback. I'm concerned about the coach. Fair. I mean, let's get that. Let's make that 100% clear.
Well, he is a freshman.
I'm not concerned about the quarterback. I'm concerned about the coach.
He is a freshman, so it's not crazy to be concerned about the quarterback. He's a freshman.
Fair. What I'm mainly concerned about, if I was you guys, is how terrible Kansas State has looked on the road, and that's where their struggles have been. We've seen them lose to Missouri. We've seen them lose to Oklahoma State. 2 teams I think Texas is head and shoulders better than.
Quarterback was out.
I think they're head and shoulders better than. I think Texas puts the ball on the ground. I think their defense, boa constricts this Kansas State offense. I think Texas wins comfortably here. I'm laying the wood.
It's easy to look bad when your quarterback's out.
And last but not least, Rat Hawk, are you going to make this a tie inside with Jay, or are you going to just take the under?
No, I'm not. No, I'm actually going to take Kansas State as well here. I think Jay said it perfectly. Hook them. I mean, the hook's going to bloom large here. I think it's going to be a 3-point game if Kansas State doesn't win this one outright. The thing for me here, though, is that, I'm not going to add too much to what you guys said, but the difference for me here is trips into the red zone. I think there's going to be lots of red zone trips, and we've seen Kansas State cash in, score 33 touchdowns in 40 red zone trips. They've had 37 scores, I think, in the red zone. Texas has only scored 26 times in the red zone, and only 16 of those have been touchdowns. So they're sometimes having to take field goals when they get into the red zone. And in a back and forth game where every possession is going to count, I think that, I want the teams to be able to score touchdowns when they get down there. So give me Kansas State in the points.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I think too. Back and forth game. I think this is a field goal finish, a shootout. So 3.5 extra points just sounds nice. Our poll is heavy on Kansas State, which makes sense because this number has been bet down to 3.5. So we know there's a lot of action out there on Kansas State. Jay on a Texas island by himself. 55% of our viewers taking the 3.5, 35%.
Last week I did pretty okay on the island.
I remember you hitting the group chat saying you're having a good Saturday.
So,
All right, Jay, hopefully having another successful day on his island. All right, let's move on to the next game, which is, one second, let the graphics load up. Notre Dame at Clemson. Yeah, back-to-back big ones to start here. We'll start with Rat Hawk this time. People are calling you the Rat King in the comments, which is just kind of funny. This line's at 3. I thought there was a chance this one was going to move to 3.5, but I didn't as of a few minutes ago. So we're at 3. Notre Dame on the road in Death Valley. What say you, Rat Hawk?
Yeah, I was initially on Notre Dame earlier in the week, but after doing some extra digging, I'm going to go with Clemson here plus the points. I think this is the buy low, sell high spot. Sell high on Notre Dame after 2 solid performances, but again, 2 solid performances against bad defenses in Pitt and USC. At least the one thing that Clemson was able to hang their hat on when they were struggling was their defense. And Sam Hartman doesn't have good career numbers against Clemson. 0-4 in his career against the Tigers. Clemson's got his number. This game for me must win for Clemson, so I'm going to take Clemson plus the points. I'm going to sprinkle a bit on the money line too.
Clemson plus the points. If you guys watched my YouTube video that I uploaded on Thursday night, you already know I'm on the same side as that. Just exactly what he said. Just copy paste what he said. Perfect buy low, sell high spot. You got Notre Dame coming off 2 big, impressive-looking wins. Both of them were at home. Both of them against weak defenses. Now they go on the road and play a Clemson team. Clemson stock is at an all-time low. Everyone's selling on Clemson right now. Perfect time to get back in on them at the full 3. If you missed the opportunity, it dropped to 2.5, which I don't think it did, but it looked close because it was juiced. I mean, I'd probably still play it. I think Clemson wins, but plus 3, I like Clemson at the full 3. Jay is taking Notre Dame because he hates Clemson. Is that correct?
Man, I've been the leader of the Fade Club Nick Fade Dabo Sweeney train this year, and we're just going to continue to ride it. We're just not going to hop off. We're just going to continue to ride it. I will say it's not one of my favorite games this week because Clemson is a very tough place to play. And if this number was like 2.5, I would be all over Notre Dame. But at it 3.5, 4, I think we're really heading for push territory. But I do think Notre Dame is head and shoulders the better team. I expect them to win this game. So I'm going to lean in their direction, land the points.
All right. And we're going to come into Mitch. Mitch is going to be on Clemson in this one, though. Am I right on that, Mitch?
Of course.
Yep, I knew it.
Because Dabo Swinney is one of the biggest winning home head coaches in the history of college football, and he already lost at home this season. So 2 home losses.
He should have won that game, the Florida State game.
They had the game won against. Really, if you're a poll watcher, bandwagon jumper, any of those things, think that the poll in October has anything to do with who's going to play for the national championship. Well, then you must believe that they lost in overtime against one of the top, very best teams in the country. Who's going to lose next week outright to Miami. The thing is that like I said, there's certain places that are just tough buildings, and this is one of them. They come running down the hill, they touch the rock, they come running down the hill, the place is going crazy. It is a lousy, lousy spot. And last year in South Bend, Notre Dame beat Clemson, big time revenge spot. And for a team that's having a bad year, hey man, at least they'll win this one. They'll be happy about that outright.
All right, Jay on another island, but this time the community agrees with Jay. The community is on the island with Jay. Looks like 58% of our viewers are laying the 3 with Notre Dame, 37% taking the 3 with Clemson. I'm surprised. You would think at a full 3 at home, more people would be betting Clemson, but I guess everyone has just sold their stock in Clemson, which is, in my opinion, the perfect time to buy.
I think everybody's also selling based on the news that Will Shipley's out, but I think Clemson's offense is better with Moffitt. Moffitt's averaging 6 yards per carry. Shipley only 4.6.
Well, Clemson's going to have the next guy up. I mean, they're
exactly
loaded with talent. Let's start off with Rat Hawk on this one. Let's get everyone's picks off the board here. We got Texas A&M and Ole Miss, and I actually talked to you on the phone about this game last night, and I actually forget what you said now. I know I talked to Mitch about this one. He said he was leaning A&M, which is the wrong side.
In my sleep, I said I was leaning A&M. That's how much I live and breathe college football. Like from a dead sleep. He didn't even tell me who was playing. Kind of like it.
He's in a dead sleep. He answers,
No, he goes, who do you got in Ole Miss game tomorrow? I'm like, kind of leaning A&M.
I think that's the wrong side because I think Ole Miss is the perfect offense to negate the Texas A&M pass rush, which is what that team. I mean, Max Johnson's okay. I don't want to hate on Texas A&M. I like them, but really, what makes that team elite is the pass rush. It's so good. And I think Ole Miss has the perfect offense to negate it. They could do all kinds of different things with Jackson Dart, with Judson. I'm on Ole Miss here at -3. I know that's the public side. This wasn't a big bet for me, so I don't want to waste too much time talking on it. I think I actually am. The thing I posted, it says Ole Miss or pass, so I don't want to waste any more time talking about it. But yeah, I'd lean Ole Miss.
Yeah, I lean Ole Miss as well. I don't love it. The defensive rankings, like statistics, are in A&M's favor defensively, but to me, this just comes down to which offense do I trust to make the plays late, and for me, that's Ole Miss. So I wouldn't be surprised if it falls on this number, but definitely not when I'm rushing to bed.
I'm surprised. Our poll so far, I mean, more people still have to vote. Everyone's picking Ole Miss. I thought Texas A&M would be a public dog, but I guess my gauge on that is way off because it's looking like it's polling at 79% Ole Miss right now. Jay?
I'm on with you guys. I'm no longer on an island. I'm taking Ole Miss in this one as well. A&M, where have we seen them struggle this year? On the road. Miami, Tennessee. Two teams again. I think Ole Miss is just flat out better than. Ole Miss, they've been rolling. I've liked what I've seen. 3 of their last 4 have been at home. Or, you know what I mean? 3 of their last 4 have been at home, so they're comfortable at home. I think they beat up on A&M. Mitch is down on Sarkisian. I'm down on Jimbo. I'm selling on A&M stock. I'm buying Ole Miss.
I mean, I don't think Mitch is big on Jimbo either, though. Are you?
No, I don't believe in Jimbo. As a matter of fact, I throw out that $10 million salary as often as I can. $10 billion guaranteed over 10 years. I mean, they are locked in. They are married.
He's got a strong negotiation team.
Yeah, and the thing is that they brought in, instead of firing Jimbo last year, what they did is they brought in Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator, and I believe he's kind of like one of those 1A head coaches as well for this A&M team. And you can see the offense is a lot better than it was last year with Petrino in there. And I think, the A&M, they're going to give Lane Kiffin some problems here because Lane Kiffin really, unless he can get his guys into space, his offense doesn't really work. And I think against this Texas A&M speed up front, he might have trouble doing that. So I think this is the type of game that could go to overtime. And with the new overtime rules and, everything going to this 2-point conversion, I always like getting 3.
So Mitch is on the island on this one, and he's on a major island because our community is heavy on Ole Miss, 77%. Really surprised.
Not the first time I've been there. Not my first.
I thought the Texas A&M would be a public dog. Man. My feel for this is way off. I thought everyone would be taking A&M at a full 3. But no, everyone's on Ole Miss, 77%.
I'm not a Lane Kiffin guy. I know. I say this about every head coach out there, but I'm just not a Lane Kiffin.
Kirby Smart's the only decent coach in the entire FBS, according to Mitch.
Nick Saban can coach a football team, and Eli Drinkwitz is one of my guys. I've got a few. Lanning, I like what he's doing there.
Yeah, you also said you like Shane Beamer. Dude's about to get canned.
I do like Shane Beamer, and I think that he's a coach that if he gets in the right situation, is going to be.
He got an SEC job. He got an NFL arm. Seems like a decent situation. He didn't do shit.
Look at the schedule that he got.
I mean, yeah. Mitch,
give him Michigan's schedule, and what's his record?
Mitch, it's not. I'm not looking at the record. I'm looking at the way they performed in those games. They underperformed. I'm not bashing the guy for losing to Georgia and Tennessee and Knoxville. I'm bashing the guy because he's not even competing.
Not the first cock to underperform. He's not the first cock to underperform. So I think that he's probably, It's happening.
Well, it's not his fault. It's not his fault they came out a little bit limp. Okay, it's
happens.
Ruffalo's always got to go next level.
Yeah, he always takes it one step too far.
I didn't use the word flaccid. Okay, so be happy about that.
It's like I'll cross the line, and then Ruffalo will get us uncomfortable.
It's my job. It's why I'm here.
This one, I'll go first. It's Arkansas at Florida. This line is now down to 3. I got Arkansas at 3.5. It was up at 6 earlier in the week. Everyone is betting Arkansas here, and I truly believe it's the right side. They got a new guy calling the plays there, coming off a bye week. I just think it's the perfect time to buy low on this Arkansas team. They're healthy, which hasn't been the case for most of the season. Rocket Sanders is going to play. KJ Jefferson against a Florida defense I don't really trust. Look, now that it's down to 3, I probably would, if I didn't have a bet down already on Arkansas, maybe I would throw a few dollars on it at 3. I don't love it now that it's down at 3, but I feel Arkansas is the right side. I think they win outright here. I think they are going to come out with kind of like maybe what we'll see with the Raiders this week, where like a culture change and you see the energy shift right away. I think this is the perfect spot for it. And Florida's defense, if Florida had a defense I trusted, I'd be staying away at 3. But KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders have the talent to exploit a defense like that if they come out motivated. So I'd still take Arkansas at the +3, but I'm glad I got it at 3.5. Jake?
For the first time this year, I'm taking the Florida Gators. I'm taking Graham Mertz and company. I think that the Hogs are just a terrible, terrible, terrible public dog today. And the reason I think that is because where have we seen Florida play its best football this year? At home. They've been disgusting on the road, and they lost to the best team in the country last week in Georgia. Whoop-de-doo. Everybody does. How many games have they won in a row? So I'm not overcomplicating this one. Arkansas has lost this many damn games in a row for a reason. This is not a good Arkansas team. I don't know why everybody humping up on them here. I think Florida wins and wins comfortably. They've been the better team all year. And they're at home.
Mitch?
It's tough for me because I hate Florida so much, but I think what we saw them do to Tennessee earlier this season leads me to believe that they do have the defense to stop Arkansas here. And I think
Tennessee's offense sucks, though.
I know, but Arkansas has shown that unique ability to be able to stop themselves, and I think that could happen in this one as well. Like you said, I don't love the line here anymore, and I think it's really moved down. I think if you wait it out, you might even be able to get it at less than this, the way things are going. So I don't know. I'll take a shot here. I haven't taken Florida all year. In fact, I hate their guts, so it just pains me to say it. Normally, I just root for a lot of penalties and injuries in Florida games, but I'm not going to see it here.
So 2 on Florida. What about Rat Hawk?
We'll split it here. I'm going to take Arkansas on the points as well. Those 3 losses on the road for Arkansas to Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU by a combined 13 points. So if they can keep it close against those teams, they sure as heck can keep it close against Florida. I think the culture change is the big thing here. Fired their offensive coordinator, like you said, Kyle. Extra week to prepare with a new offense that Florida probably won't have a ton of tape on if they're going to throw in some new kinks. So I'm going to take the points with Arkansas here.
So we are split down the middle. Our community, though, is on the Gators. 60% of our viewers laying the 3 with Florida, 32% taking the 3 with Arkansas. Next game. And the next game is, because this took so long, I have to manually load the graphics every time. Army at Air Force. Oh, I don't know why I put this one in there. I just wanted to share with everyone that I will be taking the points with Army. So, I mean, we can run through it real quick. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about this game. Are you betting this one?
Oh, yeah. I'm on Army with you. I know Air Force have been solid, but they played a really, really weak schedule. And they can run on teams that don't have, good run defenses, but all Army does in practice is go up against the option. You want proof of that? Air Force against Navy, 3 yards per carry. Against everybody else, 5.5. So I think this is going to be a slow, ugly game. Service Academy battle, 17.5 points where I want to be.
All right. I mean, we don't need to spend a ton of time. Jay, you betting this one?
Nah, I'm good on this one.
Mitch, you betting this one?
course I am. I don't think Army crosses the 50-yard line. I'm taking Air Force in this thing. I think they absolutely bury them. Commander-in-Chief's trophy hanging in the balance for Air Force. They always seem like the bastard stepchild. You guys know those are my teams. And I think that, Air Force certainly has that going for them in this game. While these guys won't play for the national championship, that Commander-in-Chief trophy goes a long way in these service academy games, and it will make the Army-Navy game absolutely meaningless. You got to remember, Army's been getting beat. I mean, you lost to UMass last week.
They don't look good.
You're ass. You're straight ass. I'm taking Air Force.
Yeah, but the total for this game is sitting at 31.5, 32.
So Army has scored 14 points in the last 3 weeks. 19-0 in that game against Troy, which I watched every minute.
Troy has got a good defense, though.
I saw it. It was in the rain. Then you have LSU 62-0. They have no defense at all. And then you have UMass 21-14 at home. That one was at West Point. 21-14 lost. 10-point favorite. They stink, man. They lost to Syracuse 29-16.
Our poll is slightly siding with Mitch, but I think everyone's picking the under. But as soon as I put this game up, everyone was like, pass, next. So let's move on to the next one.
Thank you for your service to all the participants.
For the record, if all they have to do is cross the 50-yard line once, and I get a stack of pancakes.
Yep, I bet Ruffalo a stack of pancakes that they don't cross the 50.
A stack of pancakes. Wow, you guys play for high stakes over there.
Well,
Hey. Peppermill pancakes are no joke, okay?
We went for 5K one time on the show already.
Yeah, we did. Even though Jay kind of peer pressured you into that. We got Missouri at Georgia, and we got Mitch up first. What's the play here?
I'm going to go with Missouri in this one. I like the way that Georgia's playing, but I just think Mizzou can hang in there with them. I think Eli Drinkwitz, certainly underestimated. And Missouri's a good team. I mean, they've hung in there. That game against LSU, they had the cover all the way, and they hung with them. They can put some points on the board, and I think it's going to be a physical game. I think, while I love Kirby Smart as a head coach, I love Eli Drinkwitz as well. And so these are my two guys. Between the hedges, buckle up the chin straps. This game might be the first to 20 wins it, so getting all these points could come in handy.
You guys might want to fade me on this one because I have lost 3 bets in a row on Georgia games. I took them against Auburn. They didn't cover. I faded them against Kentucky and Florida. They covered both times. I guess I'm not seeing this team clearly, but I would lean – well, not lean. I already bet it. Georgia minus 15. They're starting to look, and the reason is they're starting to look like the Georgia of years past in the 2 areas I wanted to see. They're stopping the run, and they're running the ball. That running back Edwards has averaged 6.9 yards per carry the last 2 weeks. Missouri defensively is solid.
But they always beat the shit out of Florida. I mean, they always beat the shit out of them, so it's like they're going to score 100.
Yeah, they always beat the shit out of Missouri too, though. I mean, Missouri actually played them close. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Missouri is a beautiful thing.
But Missouri's different this year than years past.
Fly under the radar.
Brady Cook's production has fallen off the last 2 weeks. He's not throwing the ball for 300 yards.
When you think
anymore.
SEC good teams, you don't think Missouri. You think Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Tennessee.
What does that have to do with betting this game, though? When I think SEC, Missouri's definitely gotten a lot of hype this year with that receiver that we like, but the passing game has fallen off, and they can't run the ball on Georgia. And Brady Cook's going to be forced to drop back to pass it and make plays.
They're going to force some turnovers, man. They're going to surprise you. And they got a kicker that can kick it.
Carson Beck hasn't been turning the ball over.
They got a kicker that can
Even though you said Dylan Gabriel was going to turn the ball over on Kansas, and then in the first quarter, I was like, that motherfucker. Like, he did turn the ball over. Throws a pick 6. So maybe Carson Beck does turn the ball over.
I just think it's going to be a good game. I think this one's going to be a better game than people think.
What does Jay think?
I've been the leader this year saying that Georgia should not be the number 1 team in the country.
And I've been on the other side of it all season.
And with that being said, no way and in no fashion should it have been Ohio State to be the team that jumped them.
Buckeyes look good, bro.
No, bro, but chill, man. Last time we seen Ohio State, they lost when it mattered most. Georgia, there's a point to what Mitch got to say, about how many games has this team won in a row? I think they come out here and smash Missouri on some pure spite of mad at the world. We're the best team in the country. We've been that for quite some time, and y'all don't think so? Y'all don't think so? All right, bet. Watch us show you today. I just think that's what the type of energy they're on. I'm taking Georgia. I'm laying the wood.
I can guess Rat Hawk's pick. He likes the over here.
Oh, you see right through me. I had you like the over here.
I knew
but
it.
I also lean towards Georgia because this feels eerily similar to the spot last year. The first playoff rankings were announced. Georgia was on that win streak, and then Tennessee was handed number one. And then what did Georgia do? They came in and beat the crap out of Tennessee. But I think you've seen an increased emphasis for Georgia on the offense the last few weeks. They put up 43 against Florida, 37 against Vandy, 51 against Kentucky in their last home game against another team that was riding high going into that one. So I think we get another high scoring game here. I think Missouri can hold their own offensively. They put up 34 against South Carolina, 38 against Kentucky. I know, not Georgia's defense, but they're doing that, and Brady Cook hasn't been all that effective. So I think we can see some points in this one, even if it's a blowout. I think we're still getting up and over this number.
All right, community sides with me and Jay slightly. There's a lot of people bet Missouri out there. 53% laying the 15 points with Georgia, 35% taking the 15 with Missouri, 6% over, 3% under. Let's move on to game number 7, which is, after I load the graphics, we'll find out. Game number 7 is, we're in Stillwater. Oklahoma State. Oklahoma, man, last week, I made Oklahoma one of my top bets, and of course, Mitch called the Kansas upset. I thought it was the perfect bounce-back spot for the Sooners after almost losing to UCF. I thought that would have been a wake-up call, but now I'm thinking there is no wake-up call. Maybe this team's not that good, but I also don't have a ton of faith in Oklahoma State. This line probably has moved too far. I would take Oklahoma State at +7, put down to +5.5. This is a pass for me. I'll put Oklahoma State +5.5 on the screen, but I'm not touching this game. I'll watch it, and I'm rooting for Oklahoma State, but I don't see a ton of betting value in it. Rat Hawk?
Yeah, I should have just left the over graphic up for me. I'm taking the over here. Oklahoma, 21 passing touchdowns so far this season, and Oklahoma State tied for 7th most as a team, giving up 17. So I think Oklahoma's going to get their share here, but Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon, probably going to run all over this Oklahoma defense is missing Danny Stutzman, their best option at linebacker. So look for there to be big plays in this one. I'm seeing, at least 38, 35, something big like that. So I lean towards Oklahoma State in the points as well, but over the play for me in this one.
Jay, did you have Kansas with Mitch, or were you on Kansas too?
I had Kansas, and I had a money line as well.
What do you like in this one? Sooners bounce back or no?
Yes, sir. Of course. Kansas, like Mitch said, it was one of their last chance to get at OU. Is this? I forget. Is this? We're still getting this series though, right? When they move?
No,
not without them taking time to actually schedule it.
Damn. Ooh. I like OU in the bounce back, but there's something to be said about this is the last one in this series, the Oklahoma series. I've said this OSU team is not the same. Oklahoma State team is not the same as teams in recent memory. Like, I just don't think they're as good. But as of recent, they've gotten better as weeks have gone on. I still just think Oklahoma's head and shoulders better than them this season. I think they know what's at stake. I think Oklahoma wins this game comfortably. But I would not be surprised if this was back and forth, nail biter all the way to the end.
Mitch?
this series has not been back and forth nail biter at any point in the entire series. This series has been as one-sided as it gets. It has been all Oklahoma. With that being said,
Oklahoma State got him last year.
Mike, they've gotten him like 3 times in the last 40. Mike Gundy has been part of the Bedlam series for the last 30 years. He has been part of it as a player and as a coach, and this is his last crack at him. I think they leave it all out on the field. This isn't just his Super Bowl. This is his career.
Are they storming the field, Mitch?
I think they'll be storming the field in Stillwater.
How many stands can storm the field on Oklahoma before they realize like beating them is just not that much of an accomplishment.
I don't know. It's almost like storming the court against Duke the year that Coach K was out.
Yeah,
it happened. And I think we see it again. It's not when you storm the field. It's not necessarily the winning of beating this version of Oklahoma or whatever. It's that years of frustration of them whipping your ass. And I think, I try to explain this to Jay because he is a bandwagon jumper. But I think now that his Rangers have won the World Series, he understands that being a true fan, when you win, all those years of pain and suffering is what makes it all that special, right? Like, I mean, we know this. But anyways, I think that this is one of those special series that even though it's been a one-sided series, I think that Oklahoma State in this one takes it all out. They leave it all out on the field. I think they feel slighted, and I think the fact that Oklahoma doesn't want to continue the series is part of the problem here too.
I like that angle. I like that.
I think it's part. I think so. I'm from Miami. We used to play Florida every single year. They dropped us from the schedule and they replaced us with New Mexico State. And the thing is that we were up 28-3. I tell this story all the time. I was at the game. We're up 28-3. 3 seconds left to go in the game. We called timeout and kicked the field goal to make it 31. And I think this is that type of game.
Our poll is on the Sooners with Jay. 50% of our viewers are laying the 5.5. 33% taking the 5.5 with OK
I'm going to
State.
miss saying the Bedlam series. I love saying it.
I'm sure they'll schedule it in the near future. Yeah. They're not going to. I mean,
usually what they do is they try and line them up in bowl games.
Yeah, I could see that. But I'm sure, like, they're in the business of making money, and if
it's like Florida, Miami, it resumes and it plays like every 2 games every 7 years or something.
Right.
Is Oklahoma State the best midseason turnaround we've seen in a little while?
Yeah, that's crazy. And I've been losing money on that every single week. Mike Gundy, he's just got that program completely turned around.
I think Jed Fish at Arizona's done the same.
Yeah.
A nice job there, too.
All right, Mitch, Penn State at Maryland. Let me run the poll. I actually have to take a piss real quick, and I just peed before the show, man. I drink a big-ass coffee.
It's okay. I'll filibuster on this one.
Yeah, I know you're more than capable of it, Mitch. Tell us about the history of Penn State football.
I'll tell you the history of Penn State football. They kick the living shit out of Maryland every single time that they play them because you look at some of these scores of Penn State, Maryland, and I understand Maryland. I think they beat them last year, but you look at all the other games, it's like 60-0 type games every single time out. They absolutely light the scoreboard up against Maryland. I just don't even see why Maryland would even show up at the stadium for this one. I could see Penn State just absolutely battering them. We saw Penn State lose to Ohio State, then come out pretty much flat last week against Indiana. But I could see the Nittany Lions coming out in a big way, returning to form in this one. I think even if they don't have the cover late in the game by some weird stretch of the imagination, because I see them being up by 3-4 touchdowns as they usually are against Maryland. What we've seen from James Franklin this year in a lot of games is that when they've had a chance to cover late, they usually go for the garbage touchdown. And I think we'll see that garbage touchdown here. Don't give me that look, Chris. You've been on the bright side of that garbage touchdown a couple times.
First of all,
I'm judging me.
I am not giving you that look because that's exactly the whole thing I was hoping you were going to say was that James Franklin's going to go for the meaningless touchdown.
Yeah, but it's not going to. It is going to be meaningless in this case because Penn State's going to be up by.
Who'd he bet?
Penn State. They always beat Maryland by 100.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in the same. I didn't bet this one yet, but that's where I'd be if I was. For that reason, was he talking about James Franklin? Because that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah. I had to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We went everywhere.
I think James Franklin is in the mindset, especially after another shaky Penn State performance against Indiana. I think he's looking to put the exclamation point down. And if this was a month ago, I'd be like, "Yo, Terps can beat these guys," but Maryland looks terrible. I loved Maryland. Well, I didn't love it, but I put a decent amount of money on Maryland coming off the bye week, minus 13.5. They lost. It was embarrassing. I don't know if Talia Tagovailoa is adopted. He's not looking anything like his brother. No, I just got that was probably an inappropriate comment. But Maryland really disappointing recently. Was it 3 straight losses? I'd go Penn State here, but I'm not crazy about it. So let's go with Rat Hawk.
I'm still trying to recover from that. I take Penn State as well. I initially was on Maryland because I was concerned about a potential look-ahead spot with Michigan on deck, but Penn State can't afford to get caught looking ahead here. And then, like you guys said, just looking at the history in this matchup, how one-sided it's been. Yeah, we've seen Maryland sort of be in the same spot, and this is when they started to fall off last year. And I got to go with Penn State here, win this one by double digits.
Jay, are we sweeping?
I'm a pass.
He's passing.
I'm not.
I mean, I put this graphic on the screen, but I haven't bet this one, so technically this is a pass for me as well. So
in Maryland, for me, they've been my kryptonite all year, so I'm just leaving this game alone.
All right.
Guys gonna fade your ass anyway.
65% of our viewers laying the 8.5 with Penn State, 25% taking the points with Maryland. Next.
Yes.
What do we got next on deck? Illinois, Minnesota. And I look, some people might not want to talk about this game, but real quick, I am on Minnesota. I actually took the money line because I'm scared of that -1.5. I can see Minnesota winning by 1. I think there's a tremendous amount of value on Minnesota right now because they got off to such an ugly start and they had that ugly game earlier in the season. I think people have forgotten how hard it is to come into this building and beat PJ Fleck on this field. I mean, last year, opponents averaged 7.5 points per game on the road in Minnesota. Everyone gives Iowa's defense all the credit in the world with Ferentz and one of the best defenses in the country year after year. But Minnesota's defense at home is borderline on that same level. I don't think Illinois is going to score any points. I think if Minnesota is able to get to 14, they win this game. So yeah, I'm on the Gophers here. Let me get the poll up. I understand if you guys don't want to talk about this game. I included it because I put a decent bet on this one. So I'm on Minnesota money line, though. The graphic says -1.5. I'm on the money line. Mitch?
This one really wasn't on my radar, but the line movement suggests Illinois here, and the Big Ten at this level of games have been really just tough games.
Mitch, you've been doing this a long time, and you still haven't learned not to fade PJ Fleck in that building.
Well, he's the flexster. I know you don't like that term, but
the flexster.
But while I'm here, I just want to thank everybody that's tuned into the show and has tuned in every week this season. We appreciate all of you. It makes it a lot of fun and certainly brings the energy up. I love our Pickdawgz family, and I definitely feel like an adopted member of the Sauce family as well. And super knowledgeable crowd you have over here.
Yeah, we got a good
and they come up with some solid hate too, which I always appreciate creative hate. It's like if you can come up with some stuff I haven't heard before. I mean, Mitch the bitch is so done, man. It's like
someone went and found my mugshot from when I was arrested like 9 years ago, and it's me holding the sign, and they put "I suck at picking." They put "I suck at picking" on it. They went. I don't even know how. I can't even find that mugshot. Someone went deep diving into Google to find it, and they put It was me at I suck at picking.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Chris, Jay, either of you guys want to talk about this game? This is a game I put on just because I wanted to share that I was betting Minnesota. It wasn't one I expected to really go in.
Why do you like Minnesota here?
PJ Fleck at home, and Minnesota is values at an all-time low. Everyone stopped believing in Minnesota, and everyone has forgotten that you can't fade this team in that building. They're 4-1 at home this year. Their only loss is Michigan.
I can see it.
Last year, they allowed 7 points a game in this building. I don't trust
All right, I'll put $600 on Minnesota.
All right. I'm putting a second lien on my house.
All right, 600 on Minnesota.
Chris, are you believing in my Minnesota look here? You're muted.
Sorry. Do you remember the text I sent you last night? I said I was taking a trip to Undercity, and this was going to be my first stop.
You're going under? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going under in this one. I think Minnesota probably wins this game, but to me, you have two teams that are just absolutely terrible offensively. I see a lot of, smash mouth, typical Big Ten black and blue football. Why do I see something like 14-13 or something like that where Minnesota
That's
wins?
exactly that's what I said in my write-up. I said hopefully this game may be 14-13, so I'm taking the money line. That's exactly what I said, word for word.
Yeah. So I'm taking the under here. I lean towards Minnesota money line though. I'm with you there.
And normally Minnesota being good at home is not it's well known. Everybody knows that. And this is a rare year where everyone's just down on Minnesota, but the defense is still there. PJ Fleck's still there. It's still insanely hard to go score points in that building. It's just the offense. Mohamed Ibrahim's gone. Tanner Morgan's gone. I mean, like the Minnesota that everyone has grown to know over the last half a decade is no longer there. So everyone's kind of bailed on this team, but it's that defense that wins them games at home. So yeah, I'm on Minnesota. Jay, did you want to talk about this one? I know you're in NBA mode, so I know you probably didn't go into like 30 games this week.
I didn't, and I'm passing on this one as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm having a good NBA. We got to get on the show. I'm having a good week in NBA. I'm killing it right now.
You gotta come on.
Yeah, well, when college football slows down, we'll do something where like maybe 4 p.m. We'll do something together. We'll talk about it.
Sure.
Kansas at Iowa State. This one is now up to 3, which sucks because I gave out Iowa State -2.5. And I hate when I give something out and people can't get it. Unfortunately, it happens. There's no way to avoid it. So I'll put Iowa State -3 up. Radhawk?
Yeah, I'm on Iowa State as well. I think it's just your prototypical letdown spot after the
bingo.
Win. Yeah, for Kansas, I think it's the first college football playoff ranking they've had in program history. I know we're only talking about like less than 10 years, but still a big deal for this Kansas team. And Iowa State, they can play solid defense, which is something that we can't necessarily say about Kansas. They got the win, but there's still a problem defensively with this team. The Cyclones, they look like a different team than the one that's had that black eye to start the year with all the stuff that was happening off the field. So give me the Cyclones laying the 3 here.
I'll bring it up to Jay. I know he likes this Kansas team, so I'm assuming you're taking Kansas because you like them.
I am taking Kansas here. I mean, I think they keep it rolling. I understand off a huge win like that last week, but Kansas I still think they got that stigma of a basketball school, and they've been solid the last few seasons. Iowa State's not that good. I understand this is out on the road, but I'm taking Kansas in this one. I think they keep it rolling, in all honesty.
I think Mitch is going to be on Iowa State with us.
I unfortunately have to take Iowa State after Kansas did us so proud last week.
I know.
I just think that this is just one of those letdown spots. Also, we had a discussion on our show earlier with Ron Romanelli and Chris, and about the size of the bets that Iowa State made, to get all the guys banned and stuff. And I feel sorry for them. It's like I don't know. I think if you're gonna bet, you might as well throw something down, especially if you're gonna throw away your college eligibility on it. But that's besides.
They didn't even bet a lot of money, right? It was like
no, it was like what was it, Chris? It was like $20 parlays or something.
Something so like that,
yeah, it was something crazy. But anyways, I don't know. It's not a game that I'm rushing to the window, but I do see the angle of the letdown spot. And also, Kansas hasn't been great on the road, but once again, they went on the road. Their quarterback got injured in the Texas game, so tough to call. I think Iowa State. There's a coach I like also, Campbell. So
yeah, Matt Campbell. I like him too. I wanted him to be the next. I still want him to be the next Dallas Cowboys coach, which he's not flashy enough of a hire for Jerry Jones, but that's who I wanted.
Could be Dabo.
Yeah, that's more up Jerry Jones' alley. I also heard someone saying Lincoln Riley's fed up in the FBS and he would do it. But
I'm fed up with him too.
We know, even though
done with this ass.
Mike McCarthy's gonna get it done this year.
I'm so done with Lincoln Riley, man. I can't.
I'm on the Are you on Dallas +3 tomorrow, Jay?
Of course.
Me too.
Is the sky blue?
Are you on the Nets today against the Celtics?
I've been betting the Nets blindly because they're 5-0 against the spread. I've been betting them every time.
I'm getting some major hate on my Nets picks, man. I'm getting some major hate.
How can you hate on picks that continue to cover? They're 5-0 against the spread.
The
Nets are cash cow.
Oh, probably because I criticized Jason Tatum's every breath.
and the Jaylen Brown contract.
What's wrong with Jason Tatum? Oh,
he's a fraud.
Oh, don't start, please.
He's like 24. Give him a
Let's
chance.
just say Game 7 at home of the Eastern Conference Finals, 7.5 point favorite. You get blown out of your own building. How about
We were
that?
making such good time.
Washington. Speaking of Lincoln Riley, Mitch, we're at Washington at USC. What are you doing?
Well, I could rat hawk it to over 100 on this one, but I think I'm just going to go straight with Washington in this one. I think that Lincoln Riley fade train continues for me. Normally in these type of spots, because Washington has been looking for a place to lay down, that I would jump on USC, but I can't even do it here, because I just love fading Lincoln Riley so much. Just can't help it.
I just really, really enjoy it.
I get off on it.
If you told me that, hold on one sec, I got to get the updated pie charts. Prop Beaver just sent the rest of them in. So if you told me in the beginning of the year that I would be laying 3 points with Washington on the road in Southern Cal, I would have been like, yo, I must have hit rock bottom in life.
A month ago,
what is going on? But I don't see any other way here. It's not like, look, because there's a sharp side of my brain that's like, yo, buy low on USC. This is the time. Like, obviously, I have those thoughts, but I don't think there's coming back up. There's just no signs of life. When I was watching that freshman quarterback for Cal just piece USC up, this freshman quarterback who was the third string at Cal, piece them up. Piece
Lincoln
them
Riley
up.
defense, man. It's Lincoln Riley defense. It needs to go away. It needs to just go away.
It was, and I'm holding a USC -10 ticket, a good-sized one, feeling like the biggest sucker in the world. And all I was thinking watching that game was like, oh, my God, this asshole Mitch is right. Like, this guy sucks. This guy sucks.
Sucks.
And that freshman, by the way, that freshman quarterback in Cal, Mendoza, I think his name is, he looks good. So let's give him some props. But this is arguably one of the most talented quarterbacks in the FBS here, and it's kind of a buy low spot for Penix as well, because he hasn't quite looked like himself the last few weeks. So I think he's looking at it as an opportunity to come back out, throw 5 touchdowns, insert his name right at the top of the list of the Heisman watch where it was earlier. So I think it's also a little bit of a buy low spot on Michael Penix. Washington should score 60 points in this game. I'm sure Caleb Williams will make a play or two, but damn, I can't believe I'm laying 3 with Washington. I feel sick about it, but I can't go anywhere else with this one. Rat Hawk, are you with us?
I am. I think I said it last week. I am so done with USC. So done with Caleb Williams. I lean towards the over too. I think this one gets to the 80s if we're being honest. By the way, the name Rat Hawk has made it when Mitch uses it as like a description of something in a sentence. I mean, I'm gonna Rat Hawk this one. That's when you know it's made. It's made it 100%. But I'm with you. I think you made a good point. I think this is technically, well, it may not be an obvious one, but it's a buy low spot on Washington. They failed to cover each of their last 4 games. 3 of those were as 20+ point favorites. And you see people say, oh, they only beat Arizona State by 8. They only beat Stanford by 9. And all of a sudden people are saying, oh, the sky is falling now. They have to play USC. The only thing that's going to be falling is the Trojans right now. I tell you, it's bad for USC. I'm looking for Washington to pick them apart.
Absolutely. Let's get up Jay, because Jay has been a believer in Caleb Williams. Are you still believing?
I am.
Wow, he's doing it. He doesn't. He doesn't look proud of it at all.
Because I'm not proud of it, but
he's ashamed of his bet. He's ashamed.
It's plastic, but it still counts. Jay's trying to catch one of these.
A falling knife.
I'm catching a falling knife.
So you still think Caleb Williams, #1 pick in the NFL draft, still the guy?
I do. And when you have one of those guys, man, you always got a puncher's chance, and I think that's what they have here. I know their defense is terrible. It is. But I think
you could say, you call it, you could use the term straight ass.
Straight ass. But I think they do enough to keep this one reasonable. I do, man. I do. And I think they have a shot to win it out.
What do they do?
I'm taking USC here.
I mean,
not a big bet, but I am putting a few dollars on USC.
I mean, I can't even talk shit on this one because I'd be lying if I said I didn't look at this one trying to get to USC +3. Like, I wanted to be there too. But there's actually a lot of people betting the Trojans. It's not like Washington -3 is like the heavy public side. This one's pretty split.
Begging you to take USC.
Yeah.
They're begging.
Laying 3 points on the road in Southern Cal. That's the odds makers making a statement. That's taking a position, laying a full 3. And 56% of our viewers are laying the points. 24% are joining Jay on his USC Trojan Island. I hope you guys enjoy your stay there. You're going to get 70 points hung on you. 17% on the over one.
It's gonna be a long day at the office.
There is a 1% under. Congrats to the person who clicked the under.
Hey man, if you hit it, you're
They clicked the
genius.
wrong one. They clicked it too early.
The guy
They're trying to report the ball.
Yeah, they were probably just trying to get the poll out of like, whoever clicked that under, if it hits you got a guest spot on next week's show. Next up, we got, let's get the graphics up. Number 12, we're on. We have 4 more games. Kentucky, Mississippi State. This is a pass for me. I put it up there in case you guys wanted to talk about it. Chris, Mitch, either you guys have anything on this one? The thing is, what messes it up for me is Will Rogers' status, and is he even going to play the rest of the year? Is he playing today? Exactly. That's exactly what I was like. I'm done trying to play hopscotch with trying to figure out if this guy's going to play because the backup can't play. His name's Wright. I had Mississippi State plus the points as a top bet against Arkansas. The final score of that game, they won 7-3. He did nothing to help me win my bet in that game. So I can't trust Mississippi State at all if that kid's playing. But this line of 4.5 makes me think
it looks like Rogers is out.
I would have to go Kentucky.
Rogers and Woody Marks both out. This
is probably going to be one of the ones that like we'll talk about it in the Discord and place a bet closer to the start because I haven't bet this one yet. I hate college football quarterback injuries are the worst because you can never get clear-cut information. So I'll put Kentucky minus 4.5 up because that kid Wright is not very good, the backup quarterback from Mississippi State. Yes, the Bulldogs defense has actually taken a giant step forward. Mississippi State had one of the worst defenses not in the FBS, in the SEC for the first chunk of this season. They've looked all right. They've looked formidable, but still, Kentucky on the road, coming off a loss. I like Kentucky to win by at least a touchdown, as long as Will Rogers doesn't play. So that's where I'd be on this one, but we don't have to talk about it for a while. You betting this one at all, Chris?
Yeah, no, not me personally. I'm taking a pass on this one. This was one of the few games I couldn't really get a good feel for. It's like you said, just a lot of the injury stuff being up in the air for Mississippi State and how key Will Rogers is. Yeah, it was hard to get a feel for.
Mitch, Jay, either you guys want to talk about this game, or should we just move on to the next one?
I like Mississippi State. The home team's won 8 in a row in this series. Also, I say it a million times, college basketball season starts, time to fade Kentucky.
Stop
with this. That's just
bro.
the way it is. It's the way it is. Hey, and congrats to Will Levis. He actually looks like a real NFL quarterback.
Yeah, holy shit, man. I had the Steelers, and I was sweating it out, all because of Will Levis. I had the right side. The Steelers outplayed him.
Flag. I mean, that flag.
Did any of you guys take the Titans? Anyone on the screen with me take the Titans?
I had the Steelers. I went to sleep.
Yeah.
Halftime.
I went to sleep. What was the score? Like they were up a touchdown?
Man, that game was a rookie quarterback, second game ever, prime time in Pittsburgh. Stop it.
It was close.
It was way better than Pickett. Way better.
Way better than
I
Pickett.
thought that they was finna compete with those
way
Steelers
better,
in prime time on a Thursday night. That I don't know what
He looks the best of all the rookie quarterbacks out there.
Man,
Sure.
they getting faded next week too.
We are moving on to game 13. We have 16 up, so 4 games left. LSU, Alabama. All right. Let's bring Mitch up first. I think Mitch has been taking Alabama a lot on the show. Are you staying with that same energy? Roll Tide at -3?
Let me explain to you guys one thing.
I love Nick Saban. That's what he's going to say.
Well, I love Nick Saban, but aside from that, one thing we know about Nick Saban, he does not lose at home a lot. He already lost at home this year. He does not lose at home a lot. And the other thing he doesn't do is lose to Brian Kelly coach teams or teams like that. Every time he plays Brian Kelly, he beats the living dog shit out of him. it all started in that national championship game when they had the audacity to rank Notre Dame #1 going into that game. And I'll tell you, they interviewed Brian Kelly at halftime, and he just said the obvious. It's all Alabama out there. No shit. They're running over you like you're nothing, man, because you can't coach defense. I will not bet coaches that cannot coach defense in November college football games at all. I'm taking Alabama. I'm going to guess the time of possession in this game is going to be 45-15.
45-50. Oh, wow. This line's actually moved up to 3.5. Oh, no. 3. It's at 3.
The time of possession, I'm saying, is 45 minutes.
No. That was a separate thought. As you were saying that, I was looking to make sure it was still 3.
Yeah, but it's 45 minutes to 15 minutes will be the time of possession. Alabama's going to just run it right down their throats.
I couldn't agree more. I actually don't think it's going to be close. LSU's offense looks electric. Jaden Daniels, hell of an athlete, one of the better quarterbacks in the FBS, probably top 5. I think what he's really due for? A bad game, and on the road in Tuscaloosa against this defense, I think this is a spot for it. And if Jaden Daniels doesn't come out, you got to keep in mind, in order for LSU to compete in this game, Jaden Daniels has to throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, rush for 65 and a touchdown as well. That's what he has to do just to make it close, because that defense is awful. And he's due for a bad game. And if he has a bad game, this game isn't close. LSU can't compete.
Tuscaloosa, it's like, oh, man. Saban already has a home loss this year.
It's not like LSU. Other teams in the conference can, okay, our quarterback doesn't have it today. Let's hand the ball off and play some defense. What? LSU can't do that. LSU cannot do that. Jaden Daniels has to be the best player in the world today to win this game. And, I mean, is he capable of that? Yeah, but I'm going to put my money on he falls a bit short.
Even Joe Burrow barely beat Alabama.
Yeah, with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Barely beat him. And they had Mac Jones, Alabama that year. I mean, that's
yeah, but didn't they have, wasn't O'Brien calling the plays there for Alabama that year?
Well, that's
that offense was good. That offense was good. Oh my God, you hate O'Brien too. You hate O'Brien.
Well, let's take a look at his job that he did as the Texans head coach.
He had the Texans as a top 5 offense a couple years, Mitch. Bill O'Brien's solid. Stop it.
How about this? All right, solid. All right, Laramie Tunsil for 2 number 1s and 5 players, man. He's the worst head. I mean, he destroyed that.
Well, you're evaluating him as a GM now and not a head coach.
That was his job.
I'm talking about his skills as an offensive play caller and schemer. I think
he's a cancer to the general program.
Don't sugarcoat it, Mitch. Tell us how you really feel about it.
Belichick assistants generally fall flat on their face, as we saw with Josh McDaniels, and his second time he's been now rung up as a head coach.
We bring up Rat Hawk. Are you on Bama with us?
I am. It's just the fact is that this is going to be the toughest defense that LSU will have faced, and we're starting to see Alabama's offense get better week by week. We've said it time and time again when we talked about LSU. It is no longer DBU. This defense has been torn to shreds.
It's horrible.
Week out. Even if they've been winning games, they've been giving up a ton of points to teams they probably shouldn't be giving them up to. Yeah, I'm taking Alabama here, laying the 3.
And last but not least, Jay, are we sweeping it? You don't like LSU? I forget does he like LSU?
For the first time this show, man, we're going with the sweep. Give me Alabama. Come on now. We already seen them lose once at home. They only do that like once a year. They did that to Texas. They not losing to LSU. It's not happening. They've gotten better as the season's progressed too. Like, they're still one of the top teams in the country. I don't see it. I don't see LSU going into Tuscaloosa getting it done. I'm taking Bama.
We are Bama across the board, and our community, everyone watching, we're all Bama. We are all on the tide collectively. 71%.
Nothing but the tide.
71% on Alabama, just 20% taking the 3 with LSU, 6% over, 2% under. Next, and we are on game 14 of 16, just 3 games left. Oh, it's Miami time. We're going to have Rat Hawk go first and talk about the Canes. And I'm going to put Mitch on mute so he can't interrupt you. Miami -6, NC State +6 over under. Radhawk? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. I see that's how little I want to talk about this one too. I'm staying far away from this thing. If I had to go with anything, I'd probably go with the under. But just because I don't trust either offense coming into this game. But yeah, that's probably no play for me.
I'll put a under up for you. You should make your bio picture you with the under your face.
I'm gonna get. Have you seen those prime chains that they've been handing out, like Logan Paul and everybody have been handing out?
I did not.
They've been handing out like these just ones that are like diamond crusted prime logos. Mine's just gonna say under. Yeah.
All right, Mitch, you have the floor. Let's hear your thoughts on the Canes this week. Is Raleigh too tough for him?
Nick Saban is 103-9 at home.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about, Nick Saban? You following us, Mitch?
All right, so here's the deal with this one. I think Miami wins this game. I think they do not cover. I think NC State has played them tough in the past. It's not a good NC State team, but
they're getting better, though. NC State has played better as of late.
Miami's defense is so underrated. If you look at the NFL draft rankings coming for the upcoming NFL draft, it's loaded with Miami players, like in high spots. Two guys projected to go in the first round. The thing is that Miami has their big one next week is the Super Bowl. So I think you got to kind of figure they're going to play it a little close to the vest. Normally they take the week off before the Florida State game. So this week, back-to-back road games, I'd expect to see Miami play it super close to the vest, walk out of there with a little 3-4 point win, and be very, very happy with it. I'll take NC State plus the points, but I'd like Miami to win the game.
You can literally copy and paste every word Mitch just said. That's exactly my thoughts on it. Huge look-ahead spot with Florida State on deck. It's on the road. That's on the road at Florida State, isn't it, next week?
Yeah.
I saw that line at 13.5. I was thinking about grabbing some Miami right now at 13.5.
Miami would be a one-loss team if it wasn't for that Georgia Tech, not taking a knee.
There's a lot of ifs in college football, Mitch.
Oh, no, I know. The thing about Miami, they're still 3 years away, 2 years away from being like a real team. But
they're solid. They're having a good year. They're having
a good progress. They're definitely progressing. We're winning. We're playing a lot better. Not like in past years we would have lost last week. We were able to get the win.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. And by the way, you didn't mention this, but I interjected a little bit. NC State looks better. They look better last 3 or 4 weeks. In the beginning of the season, I was like, I'm not going to bet North Carolina State once this whole year. This team looks horrible, but they're showing signs. They're looking better. We know Raleigh isn't the easiest place to go play, with the team looking better, laying almost a touchdown. We're at 6 now in a look-ahead spot. And Mitch, Miami by a field goal. That's what I have too. So yeah, I'll be taking the 6. Me and Mitch are on the exact same page there. Jay, anything for this one?
Yeah, man, I think you guys are tripping. I'm taking Miami. Here's why. This is how I see it playing out. I see Kansas State getting smashed today. They fall out the rankings. I see Oklahoma State getting smashed this week. They fall out the rankings. I see Miami winning this game comfortably, moving up to 25, making that game next week.
Nobody at Miami cares about being number 25.
They don't.
Not one person that's a Miami fan cares one shred about being number 25. Either we're number 1 or we're nothing.
I know.
I'm telling you.
I know that's
we're
how
number
you guys
1
feel.
or we're nothing.
I know that's how you guys feel, but that's not how the networks feel.
But that's how we feel. We're number 1 or we're
it's going to be a
nothing.
ranked game next week. Florida State, Miami. NC State, you guys have been talking all day about how teams, they fall flat off huge wins. Well, this one fits the bill too. NC State off the huge win last week in their last game.
Next week, we'll talk about Michael Irvin catching that pass at Tallahassee when I was at the game. And the first thing he did when he caught the pass, when he's running down the sideline with Deion Sanders chasing him, he's holding up the "We're number 1" signal, man. That was just the best.
They fall flat.
that was the greatest moment of Mitch's life right there.
They fall flat here. They have some
wide right. The greatest moment was when Kenny Calhoun deflected the 2-point conversion against Nebraska's 18.5-point Dogs to win the national championship. That was the greatest. But that was certainly one of them, that Michael Irvin catch.
Well, yeah, I think they win comfortably here, gain some momentum. They've been stumble these last few weeks. This is the dominant performance rolling in the next week, setting it up as a huge game where I think they have a shot at the outright next week, regardless if they don't cover here play it close to the bit. I don't see that happening. They got to get some momentum heading into that game. I think they smash NC State on the road.
Well, the community's on your side. 63% are with Jay laying the 6 with Miami. Just 24% siding with me and Mitch. 6% over, 6% under. So we're split on the total there. Let's move on to game number 15. Just 2 games left. And we got, it's Buffs time. Colorado Buffaloes. I'm not on the show with you guys over at Pickdawgz every week. Has Jay's will just been broken? Has he given up?
Not really, because we still make money in certain spots.
He's not. Let's just say he's not woofing any transfer portal shit recently.
Hashtag we're coming.
We're coming in 2027. We're coming in 2027. Radhawk, you have the floor, man.
How about Deion
Wait, didn't you text
Dallas
me?
Cowboys head coach?
No, Jesus. Maybe as like one of their like marketers or promoters, not in any sort of coaching
Jerry
position.
Loves that stuff.
I know he does. It's right up his alley. Radhawk, you texted me. You're on Colorado, aren't you? Didn't you text me that? You're muted again.
Sounds better that way.
You be quiet. You
makes a lot more sense.
I'm pretty sure he said Colorado last night.
When we were talking on the phone, I said I was trying to get there with Colorado, but I think I just got to roll with the over here, and I think I'm actually leaning towards Oregon State, if I'm being honest. Oregon State hasn't been great on the road, but the problem is that this Colorado defense has been Swiss cheese at the best of times. A lot of holes, and I think Colorado will be able to score as well. It's just a matter of if they can keep pace with Oregon State, and that's why I feel a lot more comfortable taking it over in a high-scoring affair in this one.
Let's bring up Jay, our resident Buffaloes representative, diehard Buffs fan, has been for decades. What do you think, Jay?
I'm with Chris. He said he sees an over, he sees back and forth, and with that says I'm getting 2 touchdowns damn near in my back pocket. I'm taking Colorado. Oregon State, they haven't been just road killers this season. They've been anything but that. I do think they're the better team. I do think that they win the game, but I think Colorado makes it and has a puncher's chance here. I'm going to grab the points in my back pocket.
Mitch, next. What are your you laying it with Oregon State, Mitch? Is that too many for you?
Of course, I'm a hater, so that's what I do. I think that, you have basically one of the best rush offenses in college football in Oregon State up against one of the worst rush defenses. So what happens when that happens? Well, they run all over them. Oregon State's pass defense isn't as good. But the thing is, if you fall behind in a game and your offense isn't on the field much, which I think is going to happen in this game, you got no choice but to pass. I'll tell you this, man. That Shedeur Sanders has taken a beating. I mean, he has taken a beating. Most guys would never even get up from this stuff. And the fact that Deion keeps throwing him back into this mess is almost unfair to this kid. I don't really understand what he's doing out there, but at the same time, man, toughness scale, 100 on a scale of 1 to 10 for the Shedeur Sanders, because most quarterbacks would look. I mean, what would Kawhi do, man, if he was getting hit like that? He'd be out for like the next 6 years. The thing is, I just don't like the matchup.
Was it necessary to take a shot at Kawhi Leonard there? That was so unnecessary.
Anytime you talk about toughness and injuries, we always take a shot at Kawhi.
It's not about toughness. He's trying to be smart because he's a playoff beat. No, we're not going to do. You're not going to.
We always just say, what would Kawhi do? In this situation,
he would score 35 points on only 18 shot attempts. That's what.
And he would sit. And then he would sit for the next 3 days. And the thing is
hashtag load management.
Yeah, Bradley Beal load management game 1 of the season. Load management. It's like, but I think in this one, last week we saw something that never happens in college football. It never happens in football at all. A team gets 4 turnovers and still freaking loses. It's like, that's how bad this Colorado team is. It's like, you can't get 4 turnovers and still lose, man. It just doesn't happen. It's like, it does not happen.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. I'm with Mitch. I'm laying it with Oregon State. UCLA should have covered pretty easily last week.
Turning it over 4 times. Man.
Yeah, and not only do I think Oregon State's a better team than UCLA, but I think they're more equipped to exploit a matchup like this one. When I start to doubt DJU, is in situations where he needs to be the guy and he needs to drop back to pass 40 times. He doesn't need to do that against Colorado. They're just going to run the ball. He's going to take what's there. That's what you want DJU doing. He'll use his legs at times. Yeah, maybe Oregon State's defense on the road away from Corvallis hasn't quite been the same, and maybe there will be opportunities for Shedeur Sanders to make some plays, but that pass rush is coming, and UCLA, who is worse than Oregon State, should have won by 3 touchdowns. It was just a weird circumstance that they didn't. Now, this one is that was in UCLA. This one's on the road in Colorado. How much of a home field advantage do they really even have? I mean, are those fans, if Colorado goes down 10 points, do they give a shit? Like, are they going to sit there and still be going crazy in the fourth quarter, down a couple scores?
Shiloh's the better player, man, of him and Shedeur. I think Shiloh Sanders is the better player.
Can y'all stop? Please.
Shiloh Sanders is better than Shedeur Sanders, man.
Not.
He hits like a truck. I like that guy.
No, he's not. I like Shiloh a lot.
He hits like a Mack
Shiloh?
truck, man.
Chill.
Mitch, who's better, Shiloh Sanders or Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi. I like Kawhi. It's just, what would Kawhi do? WWKD. That's it.
Clippers are going to the Western Conference Finals.
They could be. They
You
could
don't
be.
even believe
We'd
that.
like the.
I
like
do
Paul
believe
George
that.
Paul George is one of my guys. He's one of my guys.
Kyle, they have one basketball.
Yeah, but they got Paul George.
That's their saving grace. But they have Harden and Westbrook. Did y'all forget?
You know what I did last night that's turning out to be really profitable? Fade the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to continue doing so. Last game up.
First loss of the season.
Yeah, I'm fading. I was just kidding. I haven't been fading them, but
Miami Heat at home.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Especially earlier in the year. UCLA at Arizona. This is I'm on Arizona plus 2.5 because I think that program. Yeah, actually, Mitch was talking about it before. Complete 180 turnaround, and I think we are still catching a little bit of value. I don't think the market has quite caught up to it, and I think UCLA kind of did the opposite. I'm not taking anything away from UCLA's performance against Colorado because they should have won by 3 scores. But I like Arizona plus 2.5. I actually didn't even bet this yet. I had the graphics made for it. If I was just picking the games I'm betting, I wouldn't even have included this one. But I was like, hey, I got the graphics for it. Let's throw it at the end, see if you guys like anything. So I guess this would be Arizona plus 2.5 or pass for me. So let's see. I'll bring up Chris. You got Rat Hawk. You got anything for this?
Yeah, I'm on Arizona as well. It's like you guys said, there's just been a great turnaround with Jedd Fisch in Arizona. I still think that the reason we're getting points is there's still a stigma with Arizona that they're not supposed to be this good. But
Exactly. That's exactly. Yep.
Noah Fafita has been fantastic. He's basically Jaden DeLora that just doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, he's thrown for 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks in 4 games against all teams that were in the top 20 when he played them. The Arizona's legit. I don't know what else to say. They're 5-0 against the spread as an underdog, 7-1 against the spread on the year. I'm going to keep riding Arizona till the wheels fall off.
100%. Mitch, do you do Conference USA? You do, right?
Of course. You do everything.
You're muted. Oh no, you're back. You're back.
We do
I got
everything.
a lot on Middle Tennessee plus 3.5. I have a heavy bet on. Are you in on that? I don't have graphics for it or anything.
No, but you talked me into it. I will be now.
And you got the 2:30.
All right.
I think it's 6 o'clock. It's mid. It's in between the earlies and the
on my
late.
schedule for that time slot.
No,
let me check.
The most undervalued team in Conference USA against the most overvalued team in Conference USA. Middle Tennessee is better than New Mexico State straight up. We're getting 3.5. So yeah, I love
my calendar and see if I can get
Middle Tennessee plus 3.5.
Yeah,
Love it.
You can fit it right in between. Let's see here. Yeah, you have time.
What about this one, Mitch? You play in Arizona with us?
I think Jedd Fisch is the coach of the year in college football this year. I do. I think if it would have been given out in September, I think Coach Prime would have been the coach of the year. But I think that Jedd Fisch is the coach of the year this year. They generally don't give it to guys like this, but he certainly deserves it. He'll be the Pac-12 coach of the year, maybe. But Arizona's been a great turnaround story. This is going to be a good game, and I like Arizona in this one too. A little public doggy for me, but I don't care. I think they can get it done. Jed Fish actually was our offensive coordinator at Miami under Al Golden, and he was the only coach. We always said about that team, he was the only coach on the entire staff, including Golden, that was worth a shit on the entire team. The team was terrible. Jed Fish, you knew he was going to be decent.
And Jay, I mean, this is probably not a game that Jay's getting involved in, but do you want?
I'm not. I'm passing.
All right, 11:51, perfect time. Kickoffs happening. I like Middle Tennessee. I like UConn plus 35.5 and a sandwich spot for Tennessee in between two huge conference road games. Shit, I don't have them open in front of me. There's a lot that I bet. Everyone, if you want to find my stuff, it's on KyleKirms.com. I have 5 top bets up. I posted them last night. All their stuff, pickdawgz.com. You can see how it's spelled in the top right of the screen. Everyone have a great Saturday. Remember to bet responsibly. Their live show for NFL is 10 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern time. Mine's at 11 a.m. If you're able to catch both, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good one. Later.
Peace.